What's going on, everybody? How you all doing out there? I hope this video is finding you well. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Andrew. If this is not your first time here, I don't know if you're crazy or awesome or maybe just a little bit of both, but I'm happy to have you back one way or the other. Today I am going to be doing the Fave Festive Family Films book tag. This tag was created by Kayla over at Crack Into a Good Book. I will have her original video as well as her channel linked down in that description box. And since I was tagged by the creator herself, I figured I would make sure that I got this in with some time to spare for this holiday season. Before we get started, if you haven't already, I would love it if you took a moment to consider subscribing. I post bookish and writerly and entertainment-y-esque content every Tuesday and Thursday and sometimes Sunday, and I'd love to see you again. But anyway, with all of that out of the way now, without further ado, let's get right on in. These prompts are based on favorite holiday movies, similar to the Reindeer Games readathon that I'm taking place in on the Shelf Space Discord. So the first movie is Elf. What is a book that makes you smile? I went with The Fourth Piece by E. Ardell. Ebony is one of my near and dear friends, and I absolutely love this book and her as well. She was a librarian over at the library here in Monterey up until COVID, and the day that I went in to sign up for a card when I moved into my official Monterey address, I ran into one of my old coworkers from Borders, and she knew that I was a writer, so she said I had to meet Ebony, and I'm really glad that she introduced us because I've known Ebony I think close to, or maybe a little longer than 3 years now. I know what's coming in this series and I'm really excited about it, so if you're a fan of YA science fiction, this is totally up your alley. The next prompt is the Muppet Christmas Carol, and that is to name one of your favorite retellings or book to movie adaptations, and I went with The Never-Ending Story. I've talked about this a couple times this month just because I read this for the readathon. I'm going to be doing a book to movie comparison for this as well as The Last Unicorn and The Princess Bride, but I feel like not a lot of people know that this was a book, and I feel like this book is very much overshadowed by the movie adaptation. And even though the movie is only half of the book, I do really think that they did a great job for what they did from the source material, but I do wish more people would read the whole book because there's just so much more that happens. That's why I wanted to put this out here, just so I can shout out this book anytime I can because it's so good and I just want everybody to read it. The next prompt is The Grinch, and that is to list one of your favorite book villains. I don't necessarily know if he counts as a villain, but I went with Glokta from the First Law trilogy. I misplaced Before They Are Hanged. It's around here somewhere, and I let someone borrow the blade itself and never got it back, so that's why I'm holding up the third book here. But I love Glokta, I love Abercrombie, I love this whole entire series. I need to read more of him, I just haven't really gotten around to it, but Glokta, Inquisitor, he's crazy. He's so crazy. The next is the SpongeBob Christmas Special, and that is to name one of the first books you read in your favorite genre. I don't really remember what that actual answer is, but the first series that ever meant anything to me was definitely Animorphs. I don't know how many of these I have. I've got a bunch of them, but I never was able to actually finish this series. I was the age group of the Harry Potter kids, and I was probably around book 30 of, I think there's close to 60 of these now, but around book 30 was when Harry Potter started to become a thing, and I just got really into Harry Potter, and by the time I came around for these, all of the books aren't really sold anymore. So they've revived the first 10 a couple of times, I think, but I would love it if they would revive the whole series. And at some point I'm gonna have to go through and figure out which ones I need because I would love to just own this and be able to finish it because I have no idea what happens. I heard a major spoiler about my favorite character. I don't know, I feel like the spoiler that I heard was why I never finished it at the same time because I didn't want it to be true. So the next prompt is A Christmas Story, and that is to shout out a book that you've read that has won an award. I don't actually know if this book has won any awards. It's The Poppy War. I just finished it last night, and if it hasn't won an award, then it should. I'm pretty sure it's won at least one award at some point somewhere. From the first sentence to the last sentence, I was obsessed with this book, so I'm gonna say it. And if it hasn't gotten an award, I'm sorry that I was incorrect with this, but if it hasn't, then shame. The next prompt is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and that is to name a book that you were excited about reading that you were ultimately disappointed by. I'm scared. This is gonna be an unpopular opinion, but my answer to this, at least at the moment, is going to be The Sword of Kaigen. I was not feeling it, I'm sorry. I'm kind of willing to chalk it up to the fact that I read it on my Kindle, and I just connect better to books when I can hold them physically like this. So I would definitely be willing to give Kaigen another try if I had the hard copy, which I just don't. But how I felt about The Poppy War was how I expected to feel out of Kaigen, and it's not how I felt when I read Kaigen, so I don't know. That's my answer for this prompt. Sorry, I know that there's a lot of people out there like Leslie and Jesse and everybody who they all like, what, you didn't like this? I didn't not like it. I was definitely just expecting to be blown away, and I was ultimately just not. The next prompt is Bad Santa, and that is to name a character who is optimistic or wants to help others. I went with Thomas Hunter from the Circle series. I haven't read this series in a really long time, and I'd really like to read it again now that I'm a little bit older. I was in my early 20s when I first read it, but I just felt like Thomas was pretty positive throughout the whole entire thing for everything that he was going through, especially here in the first book, which I don't know if you've read it or not, but if you have not read it, anytime he falls asleep, he wakes up in another world. Long story short. But yeah, if you haven't read the Circle series, you totally should. Black, red, white, green, super solid series. The next prompt is Santa Claus, and that is just what is something that you wish from a book was real, alternate realities. I'm tired of 2020 right now, so that's it. Next prompt is The Nightmare Before Christmas, and that is to name a book that is perfect to read during the winter. I went with A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I just feel like this is kind of a timeless book. It's a heartwarming book. I feel like this is the kind of book that you can just make a cup of hot cocoa and sit next to a roaring fire and just read it while it's snowing and feel super magical, so I felt like this would fit the winter prompt. Next up is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and that is to name one of your favorite creatures from a book. I went with Oi the Bumbler, or Bumblers in general, from the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I am holding up the second book here because The Gunslinger, book 1, I think is completely boring. I tried to read it 3 times before I finally made it through, and I'm super happy that I finally finished the series because, I don't know, even after I finished the series and went back and reread it, The Gunslinger is still not my favorite. There's a 2-page argument at the beginning of this book. Personally, I feel like that tells you everything that you need to know about what happened in book 1 to carry on with this book. I love the Dark Tower series. I think Oi the Bumbler is just the cutest little thing. He reminds me of my dog if she could talk, even though she's hiding and she won't come say hi. That's gonna be my answer for favorite creatures. And lastly, there's just 2 quick bonus questions. The first being, what is your favorite Christmas or holiday movie? Since I am on team Kevin McAllister for that Reindeer Games readathon, and since I just watched all of the Home Alone movies because of that, and they are fresh in my mind, I'm just gonna go with those because I actually hadn't seen them in a really long time, and watching them as an adult was a very enjoyable experience, so Home Alone. The last prompt is, do you have a favorite book that you like to read around the holidays? All I'm really gonna say is that winter is my favorite time to return to Hogwarts, whether it's by book or film, but yes, Hogwarts during the winter is usually when I come and pay my visit. So that will wrap up my fave festive family films book tag. I don't remember all of the people that Kayla tagged in this video, but I will go ahead and tag Liz from Galactic Reads, Alan from Alexandria, Jeff from the Fowler Project, Erica from Geeklit Reads, Leslie at the Nerdy Narrative, Kate from Love Story, Rima from Rima Reads, and I don't know why I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head right now, video. If you want to do this tag before Christmas, tag, you're it. And make sure you go and check out Kayla's original video, link down there in that description box. And make sure you give her a subscribe as well, because as of this recording, she's really close to that 1,000 mark, and I'm super proud of her for that. Go show some love and support. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you considered pressing that little like button, or maybe even that little subscribe button as well, just to help me out. If you didn't enjoy this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs down, because hey, engagement's engagement. And if you've made it this far in this video, did you really hate it that much in the first place? See you next time.